The first thing Sophia noticed was the silence. Not the peaceful kind. Not the silence of dawn over the Italian countryside. This silence felt abandoned, almost haunted. The wind moved through thousands of lemon trees, yet not a single worker spoke. No laughter echoed through the orchards. No machinery hummed in the distance. Only the sharp cry of gulls from the cliffs below the Amalfi Coast and the sound of Sophia's boots pressing into the damp soil. Then she saw the fruit. Bright gold lemons hung from twisted branches like lanterns in a forgotten kingdom. Massive. Unreal. Their skin glowed under the pale morning sun, as if the trees themselves carried trapped fire. And beneath one of those trees, there was blood on the ground. Like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more stories. The camera would move slowly behind Sophia, as she stood frozen at the edge of the orchard, her dark coat swaying in the cold Mediterranean wind. She was a tourist. She wasn't a food blogger chasing colorful markets and postcard photographs. Sophia De Luca had spent 8 years documenting disappearing agricultural communities across Europe. War zones had changed her. Floods had hardened her. But nothing prepared her for what she would uncover in the fruit valleys of Italy. Because this place was hiding something far deeper than beautiful harvests. And it began with fruit so rare, most people in the world had never even seen it. The morning fog rolled through the cliffs of the Amalfi Coast as Sophia walked deeper into the orchard. The lemons surrounding her were known locally as Sfusato Amalfitano, legendary Italian lemons prized for their perfume, sweetness, and enormous size. Their scent filled the air so intensely it almost felt artificial, like someone had spilled liquid sunlight across the hills. An old farmer watched her from a distance. His hands were rough, fingernails darkened by decades of soil. His face looked carved by salt and wind. When Sophia raised her camera, he immediately turned away. That was the first warning. The second came minutes later. "Leave before sunset," the farmer said quietly in Italian without looking at her. "These orchards are beautiful in daylight. At night, they belong to ghosts." Sophia tried to laugh, but the old man didn't smile. The camera would linger on Sophia's face as uncertainty crept into her expression. She had heard strange things before. Villagers protecting traditions. Farmers suspicious of outsiders. But something in the old man's eyes carried genuine fear. And fear spreads quickly in isolated places. Especially in Italy's forgotten fruit valleys. By afternoon, Sophia traveled north toward Sicily. The sea shimmered beside the train like molten glass, while ancient villages passed outside the window. Laundry hung from balconies. Church bells echoed across narrow streets. Old women sold figs beneath faded awnings while children chased each other through stone alleys. Italy looked alive. But beneath that beauty, entire agricultural worlds were collapsing silently. Sophia had come searching for rare fruits. What she found instead were people fighting to keep centuries alive. In a tiny Sicilian village surrounded by volcanic soil from Mount Etna, she met Lucia. Lucia Ferraro was 34 years old. Strong posture. Weathered hands. Dark curls tied beneath a faded scarf. She carried crates of blood oranges alone, while men twice her age struggled behind her. The camera would follow Lucia from a low angle, as she crossed the orchard at sunrise, boots crushing black volcanic earth beneath her feet. The orange trees glowed crimson under early morning light, their fruit stained deep red from the mineral-rich soil created by Etna's eruptions. "These trees survive because the mountain suffers," Lucia said softly. Sophia immediately understood what she meant. The volcanic ash. The freezing nights. The brutal summers. Everything painful created sweetness here. The blood oranges of Sicily were unlike anything in the world. Their flesh looked almost violent when cut open, crimson streaks bleeding through deep orange pulp. Sweet, sharp, floral. Beautiful enough to feel unreal. Lucia handed Sophia a knife. Cut one. Juice spilled across Sophia's fingers like fresh paint. The taste stopped her cold. For a moment, all the exhaustion disappeared from her face. The camera would move close to her expression, surprise first, then emotion. Real emotion. Because some flavors don't simply taste good. They awaken memory. Sophia remembered her mother. Long summers before illness consumed her. Tiny kitchens filled with citrus peels drying near windows. The smell of oranges during winter mornings. Lucia noticed the tears Sophia tried hiding. Fruit remembers people, Lucia whispered. That sentence stayed with Sophia long after the sun disappeared. That night, rain hammered Sicily's coastline, while Sophia reviewed footage inside her small guest house. Thousands of photographs filled her screen. Lemons glowing beneath cliffs. Scarlet oranges beneath volcanic skies. Ancient fig trees twisted like sculptures. Then she noticed something strange. Every farmer she interviewed avoided one subject. Land ownership. The moment conversations shifted toward who controlled the orchards, fear entered their faces. Voices lowered. Cameras stopped rolling. And every road somehow led to the same abandoned estate outside the village. Villa Neroni. The locals never spoke its name directly. Only whispers. The next morning, Sophia drove there alone. The road climbed through isolated hills covered with olive trees and abandoned vineyards. Fog drifted across broken stone walls while crows circled overhead. Eventually the estate appeared through the mist. Massive iron gates. Crumbling towers. Dead vines crawling across ancient walls. The camera would slowly pan upward as Sophia stepped from the car, revealing the enormous estate overlooking miles of fertile orchards below. Once, this place had been magnificent. Now it felt like a battlefield after the soldiers disappeared. And yet, the fruit trees inside were thriving. Perfectly. That made no sense. Sophia pushed open the rusted gate. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Inside the estate grew fruits she had never seen before. Strange pear-shaped citrus glowing pale green. Black figs larger than fists. Ancient white peaches almost silver beneath the light. Rare varieties thought extinct. Every tree looked carefully maintained. Someone was still here. Then Sophia heard footsteps. Fast. She turned sharply. A young boy stood frozen behind the trees, clutching a basket of figs against his chest. 12 years old at most. Dirt on his face. Fear in his eyes. Who are you? Sophia asked gently. The boy didn't answer. Instead, he whispered something trembling in Italian. They'll come if they see you. Before Sophia could respond, the boy ran. The camera would follow him sprinting through rows of trees while birds exploded into the sky above the estate. Sophia chased after him, heart pounding, but the orchard swallowed him completely. Gone? Only silence remained. And then she heard engines. 3 black vehicles approached the estate from the lower road. Slowly. Deliberately. Sophia's instincts activated instantly. Years documenting dangerous regions had taught her when to leave. She hid behind the trees as men stepped from the vehicles. Expensive coats. Cold faces. No farmer carried themselves like that. One of them picked a blood orange calmly while surveying the estate. Another noticed Sophia's tire tracks near the gate. The atmosphere shifted immediately. The camera would move tighter on Sophia's breathing as she crouched low beneath the branches. Rainwater dripped from leaves above her. Somewhere distant, thunder rolled across the mountains. Then one of the men spoke quietly. find her. Everything inside Sophia turned cold. She moved carefully through the orchard, trying not to breathe too loudly. Branches scraped her coat as voices spread through the estate behind her. But what terrified her most wasn't being hunted. It was realizing these men weren't protecting fruit. They were protecting secrets. Ancient agricultural secrets worth millions. Rare Italian fruits had become luxury commodities across international markets. Hidden orchards. Illegal exports. Extinct varieties sold privately to elite collectors and chefs around the world. And somehow, Villa Neroni sat at the center of it all. Sophia reached the outer wall just as footsteps closed behind her. She climbed desperately, fingers slipping against wet stone. A hand grabbed her ankle. She kicked violently and fell hard onto the opposite side, crashing into mud and dead leaves below the wall. Pain shot through her shoulder, but adrenaline forced her upright. She ran downhill through rain-soaked groves, while distant shouts echoed behind her. The camera would shake slightly as Sophia stumbled through darkness beneath towering citrus trees, the storm swallowing the landscape around her. Lightning illuminated rows of fruit for split seconds at a time, glowing yellow lemons, crimson oranges, silver peaches flashing like hallucinations in the night. Eventually the voices disappeared. But Sophia knew one thing now. The farmers weren't simply afraid of losing land. They were terrified of the people profiting from it. Hours later, exhausted and drenched, Sophia returned to Lucia's farmhouse. Lucia opened the door and immediately understood. "You went there?" It wasn't a question. Sophia nodded silently. Lucia looked genuinely frightened for the first time. Then she locked every window in the house. The storm outside intensified while old wooden beams groaned overhead. Lucia poured hot coffee with shaking hands before finally sitting across from Sophia at the kitchen table. "My father disappeared because of those orchards," she said quietly. The room fell silent. Sophia didn't interrupt. Villa Neroni once protected the rarest fruits in Italy. Families preserved them for generations. But when foreign investors discovered how valuable they were, everything changed. Lucia's voice cracked. "They offered money first. Then threats. Then people started disappearing. Rain hammered the windows harder now." The camera would slowly close on Sophia's face as realization settled over her. This story was no longer about food or culture. It was about survival. About people defending centuries of heritage against greed powerful enough to erase entire communities. Lucia stood and walked toward a wooden cabinet near the wall. Inside were old photographs. Black and white images of farmers beside enormous citrus trees. Women carrying figs through Sicilian markets. Children smiling beside peaches now believed extinct. And one photograph made Sophia freeze. Villa Neroni. Filled with families. Alive. Beautiful. Before it became a fortress. "My father believed fruit carries memory," Lucia whispered. "If these trees disappear, so do we." Outside, thunder shook the farmhouse. Then headlights appeared through the rain. Both women went silent instantly. A vehicle stopped outside the house. Not one Sophia recognized. Lucia slowly extinguished the kitchen light. The camera would remain fixed on their faces in darkness, while footsteps approached the front door. One knock. Then another. Heavy. Controlled. Sophia's breathing slowed. Lucia reached beneath the table and pulled out an old hunting rifle. And that was the moment Sophia realized this paradise was about to become a war zone. The knocking stopped. Not because the person outside had left, but because they already knew fear was inside the house. The storm swallowed Sicily whole that night. Rain struck the windows like handfuls of gravel, while thunder rolled across Mount Etna, with the sound of distant artillery. Inside the farmhouse, Sophia sat motionless beside Lucia, staring toward the front door, as the old wooden walls trembled around them. Then came the voice. Calm. Male. Controlled. We only want to talk. Lucia tightened her grip on the rifle. No, she whispered. They only talk after they win. The camera would move slowly through the dark kitchen, passing flickering candlelight, trailing coffee cups, and rainwater dripping from Sophia's coat onto the floorboards. Outside, headlights cut through the storm like prison searchlights. Whoever stood beyond that door carried patience, the kind built from power. Sophia had seen men like this before. War correspondents learn quickly that the most dangerous people are rarely loud. They arrive quietly and leave devastation behind them. Lucia motioned toward the back entrance. Go? What about you? I was born here, Lucia said. I know these orchards better than they ever will. Another knock shook the door. Harder this time. Sophia hesitated only a second before following Lucia through the rear hallway. The farmhouse smelled of smoke, citrus peels, and damp wood. Old family photographs lined the walls, generations of Sicilian farmers standing beside fruits so rare they looked almost mythical now. White peaches, purple lemons, black figs larger than human hands. The camera would pause briefly on one faded photograph, showing Lucia as a little girl beside her father beneath a blood orange tree. Both smiling, both unaware of what was coming for them years later. Then the front door burst open. Men flooded into the farmhouse. Lucia grabbed Sophia's arm and pulled her outside into the storm. They ran through darkness, boots crushing wet volcanic soil. Behind them, flashlights sliced across the rain while voices echoed through the orchard. Search the property. Sophia's lungs burned as they descended narrow paths between citrus groves. The storm made everything surreal. Lemon glowed beneath lightning flashes like suspended lanterns. Blood oranges shimmered dark red beneath sheets of rain. Italy's paradise no longer looked beautiful. It looked hunted. Lucia led Sophia toward an abandoned stone chapel hidden deep inside the orchards. Ivy consumed most of its walls, and the roof had partially collapsed years ago. Inside, candles already burned. Someone else was waiting. An old woman sat beside wooden crates filled with fruit. Not ordinary fruit. Rare varieties Sophia had only seen in ancient agricultural journals. Silver pears. Tiny striped figures. Deep blue citrus almost black beneath the candlelight. The old woman looked at Sophia without surprise. So, she said softly, you're the outsider risking her life for trees. Lucia lowered the rifle. This is Nonna Elena. Sophia immediately understood. Not because of Elena's age. Because of her eyes. Strong. Sharp. Untouched by fear. The camera would slowly circle the candlelit chapel, as thunder shook the sky outside. Shadows moved across the crates of fruit while rainwater leaked through broken stone ceilings. The atmosphere felt ancient, like the final refuge of something humanity had forgotten how to value. Elena lifted one small peach carefully into her wrinkled hands. This variety survived wars, she said. It survived famine. Even the Nazis took fruit from Sicily during the occupation. But greed, she looked toward the storm outside. Greed destroys faster than armies. Sophia sat silently. For the first time since arriving in Italy, the full truth began revealing itself. The rare fruits of Italy weren't simply luxury foods. They were living history. Entire bloodlines of agriculture preserved by families who sacrificed generations protecting them. Some trees were hundreds of years old. Certain seeds existed nowhere else on Earth. And now corporations, investors, and black market collectors were buying them quietly, then patenting them, owning them, erasing the families behind them. Lucia spread maps across an old wooden table. Villa Neroni became the center of the operation, she explained. Rare fruits disappear from villages, then reappear in private collections overseas. Why not go to police? Sophia asked. Elena laughed bitterly. Because money grows faster than justice. Outside, engines moved through the distant orchards again. Searching. Always searching. Sophia looked down at the camera resting in her lap. Thousands of images already filled its memory. But photographs alone wouldn't stop men powerful enough